Stop sharing somewhere. Okay, you can do that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Avinash Tyagi, we are very happy to welcome him. Water and climate expert, former Secretary General, ICID, former Director of Water and Climate, WMO, former Commissioner, Policy Planning, MOWR, Government of India, National Capital Region, India. He is also the Vice President of India Water Partnership, India Water Partnership, Global Water Partnership South Asia. He is our partner for IWSS2021. That is the current event. So thank you, Mr. Tyagi, for being with us here today. So he has 37 years of experience dealing with various facets of water resources management. He has worked in the water resources sector in the Government of India for 28 years at the Central Water Commission, Interstate Tungabhadra Board, and Ministry of Water Resources. He is a former Commissioner of Policy and Planning, Ministry of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation, Government of India, former Secretary General, International Commission on Irrigation and Drainage, former Director, Water and Climate, World Meteorological Organization, Geneva, and a former Regional Council member of Global Water Partnership South Asia. So he has a stellar record, so we welcome him and we look forward to your speech, Mr. Avinash Tyagi. Please proceed.
Thank you, Dr. Rao, and thank you very much for that introduction. I would like to share my screen, and I hope, no, am I being given the right to share my screen?
Sai?
Have I been given the right to share my screen?
Yes, he can share.
Do you see the share screen option at the bottom of the screen in green?
Yeah. Okay, maybe just a moment. I'm taking some time. Yeah, I don't know why the screen is. Can you share the screen from there? I've got a presentation.
Do we have the presentation?
Can you screen? I have got a screen here.
Sir, you will see it as share screen, which is something like a green color or something.
Yeah.
Just press on that. And then you will see several windows. Take the first window which says screen, click on that, and down bottom at the right end, you will hear it as share. Then click the share button.
I'm not able to see that green.
Maybe you just touch the window, then it will come up. If it's not there, and just click on the window, then you must see a bunch of options coming at the bottom. Yeah. Yes, I think you've done it.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see.
Sorry for that bit. Okay, I need to remove this and to share this. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Rao, and thank you, the organizers for inviting me to participate in this discussion. Till I heard Dr. McDowell, I was thinking that I am in the wrong room because we were talking about a lot of models, etc., which didn't appear to be the topic which I was given about learning. Maybe it was artificial learning, but now what I'm going to talk to you is about human learning, basically, and that too in the context of water. The last question which Dr. Rao, you had asked Nalini, was about what prevents Bengaluru or Delhi or whatever city in India in adopting that approach, which she was referring to for locating the pipe burst. To me, the biggest gap is skills. The skill development is one area which we really are having great difficulty in the country. So my talk will be about a case for skill development for water domain, basically, because we all know that together with the demographic changes and the climate change which is taking place, we are entering an age of really planetary boundaries and resource scarcity. We have population which is bursting out of the seams. We have cities which are overcrowded. So if we really want to address our water management issue, then we have to really recognize these boundaries. That means we have to develop or plan our cities in such a way that we do not come over, we are able to come over these difficulties. Although the water crisis has been recognized for last 10 years or so as one of the biggest global risks, or one of the top three global risks, and it has also been recognized that to realize the SDG 6, or for that matter 2030 agenda, we need resources, and apart from that we need skills, partnerships, and people's participation. Now, those are the issues which I'm going to address here. Well, we all know that integrated water resources management is addressing the economic efficiency, the social equity, and ecological sustainability. And to do that, we need to have an enabling environment, and that enabling environment requires the capacity among all the stakeholders who are participating in the process of water resources management. Particularly, integrated water resources management requires a three-way dialogue between, and that too an informed dialogue between government processes, the society processes, and the science processes, basically. And this conversation between the government, the society, and the science needs to be on a permanent basis. It has to be a continuous process. We cannot just do that for a week during the World Water Day or some such occasion, basically. So what we need to do is we need to look at how we enhance this trialogue. And for that, we need to really improve the professional education. We need to have enhanced technical skills. We need to have development of soft skills among professionals so that they can handle issues like conflict resolution mechanism, basically. We need to really educate our children and create general awareness. Of course, the need for general awareness has been realized. Am I to stop in 5 minutes? Hello?
No, sir, I think it is some mistake happening.
Okay. Yeah, please proceed.
I hope I have 10 more minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this has been recognized, and even our Prime Minister has said that water conservation campaign should be launched. Sadhguru at the UN, he has been talking about this. And then, of course, there are a number of schemes which have been taken up under the government of India, as well as the various state governments. In the Kerala, water literacy mission has started. In Maharashtra also, water literacy mission started. Even the Ministry of Human Resources and Education, they have done some work in that direction for the schools. But all these efforts are in bits and pieces, basically. There's no concerted effort. For example, the Catch the Rain, which is now starting, it will go up to maybe June or July, something like that, basically, right? And then there will be lull. And then, of course, after 1 year, we will again come to know, okay, we have to do something to raise the awareness. We need to have a continuous process, which will be required to be followed to its end. Although there is no end to this whole process. So why we are talking about water literacy? For one thing, that water is everybody's business. I think this has been already mentioned earlier also. And all the human and natural systems are influenced by the availability, by the accessibility of water, or the distribution of water. And if we want to adequately provide fresh water in good quality and quantity, then we have to really it forms a growing challenge. Now, what is essential for practically all industries? We all know that primary industry or second industry, whatever. And at the same time, the water cuts across all development sectors, whether it is the tourism sector, whether it is agriculture sector, whether it is the power sector. The water cuts across all these sectors. And water security is very essential for food and energy production. So therefore, actually, to talk about water, we need to really not talk about the water sector, but rather we talk in terms of water domain, basically. So I have been using this word. I hope you agree with me that we cannot talk water as a sector. Now, first of all, we have to really understand why we are looking for water literacy, basically. And what is water literacy? Basically, there are different definitions which have been provided, and different people look at it from a different perspective, from the perspective from which they are working. But Megan McCroll and Hilary Hinman have really made this very complete definition, which includes that water literacy includes science and system knowledge, the hydro and social knowledge, and local knowledge. Now, this knowledge has to be then converted into a functional knowledge which changes the attitude and values, which enables individuals to take action, and also a collective action. So that's how we look at water literacy in its totality. We all know that we have a grave crisis as far as the skills are concerned. Therefore, National Skill Development Policy was started in 2009, and it was revised later on in 2015. And accordingly, a National Skill Development Corporation has been tasked with developing an enabling environment for skill development in the country. And it is a kind of a private and government joint initiative, with private sector taking 51% of the share. That means they are to take more responsibilities as well as. Now, under this Skill Development Corporation, 37 sector skill development councils have been established. So for each of the sectors, which if you want to look at the skill development, you address that through a particular skill development council. For example, there are 37, these are the 37 sector skill councils: agriculture, apparel, automotive, beauty and wellness, electronics, construction, Indian plumbing, and so on and so forth. I have highlighted 6 of them rather, which are very much influencing or are influenced by water availability or water availability. Agriculture sector, the construction sector, the Indian plumbing council they have talked about, the mining sector, the power, tourism and hospitality. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, none of the sectors councils, these sector councils, are addressing water issues at all, basically. So there is therefore a need for addressing the skill requirement in the water domain separately. Now, what are these skill councils doing basically? Just to give you an idea, they first of all identify the skill development needs. Then they develop a skill development plan. Of course, they set the competency standards and qualification for various vocationals, basically. They standardize and affiliate and accreditation process, participation in affiliation, accreditation, and standardization, plan and execute training of trainers, and promotion of academic of excellence. These are the different kinds of functions of various skill council. In case of council for water domain, I think it will be slightly different. So we will have to look at it separately. Now, Skill Development Council for water domain, as I said, we are not looking at a sector, but we are looking at a domain basically. So the objective of that will be to facilitate comprehensive engagement with various service providers like irrigation service provider, water utilities, municipal authorities, wastewater management entities, water users, and public prone to risk due to water-related hazards. Augmenting active engagement of all stakeholders. We were talking about stakeholders involvement is very important, basically. And the theme of the today's theme number 4 talks about participatory management. So it will provide skills, develop multidisciplinary skills in water professionals and understanding of water issues in sector professionals dealing with water. Because as the water sector is influencing other sectors, for example, if I talk about urban flooding, basically. Now, it is the PWD who develops the roads, basically. And if the roads are not properly laid, naturally, the water which is supposed to go into the drains which have been constructed by, let's say, civil engineers or the water sector managers, then they will not enter into the drain itself. So they need to be also involved in the whole process and made to understand the importance of dealing with water. Then create technical skills and awareness, diversify the existing education, training, and skill development, build awareness, and offer opportunities to socially conscious citizens, basically, to work in the sector. Basically. Now, what kind of activities they will take? This Skill Development Council can take. They'll establish a forum, basically, build partnerships, set standards for education and training for schools, water-related institutions, universities, and education training agencies in the water sector. Promote and assist the development of interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary curricula. Because today we talk about lot about the multidisciplinary approaches to water issues, but there are no universities or there are no institutions which are addressing how to do that, basically. Supporting and enhancing tertiary water education capacities for all, particularly in smaller states, and develop interdisciplinary materials. Now, what will this SDCW or Skill Development Council for Water Domain benefit? Who will benefit from it? It will support implementation of national water policy to begin with, by provision for assisting in IWRM, interstate water dispute resolution, managing river basin organization, etc. It will narrow skill gaps for implementing several Government of India initiatives and programs such as Swachh Bharat, Clean Ganga Mission, Smart City Mission, PMKSY, Har Khet Ko Pani, More Crop Per Drop, all these initiatives which have been taken up by Government of India. I think they need the skills, and there's a need to, there's a gap in skill there. So there is need to narrow the skill gap. For that, we need concerted efforts and continuous efforts. Better water service for farmers by irrigation departments, by improved functioning of water user associations and improved agriculture water use efficiencies. It will also help better water and drainage services for urban population. We have, especially the urban local bodies, today we all know that they are in very bad shape so far as the skills are concerned, basically. Then it will help increase water savings, improve and sustainable rainwater harvesting. All of us talk about we should go for rainwater harvesting, but how do we really do that? It is a simple technique, but it has to be done in a certain way. If we are not putting the right kind of filters, and then we will be putting dirty water into our groundwater reservoir, and that will be much more harmful than really getting it dry, basically. So better support to reduce, recycle, and reuse programs. We talk about these 3 R's a lot, but there is no support for them, basically, today. Enhance availability of professional and skilled workforce, and provide technical support to teachers. Every time we say, okay, in the schools we should teach about water. Now, what is to be taught? At what level? What are the materials which we can provide? So all this has to be really produced at one place, or at least in different centers, and provided to the teachers, basically. Teachers cannot by themselves, when looking at what background they come from in our country. So they cannot be expected to know all about water. So therefore, it is important that we provide the material for education to children and youth to the teacher, basically. I mean, there are various kind of vocational trainings will form part of this. I have just listed a few of them, but there can be many more. For example, in hydropower, we will need dam instrument technicians. In urban water management, we will need to train pump operators, skilled operators for wastewater treatment plants, etc., basically. So, I mean, these are the, so this program will take up vocational training. It will facilitate water education, basically, by providing, let's say, provide technical support material, etc. And it will provide literacy and community education, basically. Now, if we are to do all this, basically, and as we had said earlier, that it's everybody's business. So everybody needs to be really made aware, informed about, and given knowledge about water. So if we have to take a project at such a level, I think it needs humongous effort, basically. And we need to develop tools which are really communicative, which are easy to use, basically. And we have seen during the COVID-19 process that maybe traditional classroom training, for other reasons also, and for this also, may not be the right approach. E-learning today has become very much liked by each and everybody, because you can do it at your own time. So therefore, it is important that we take up this water literacy program for community education. Now, who will be the audience for such a program? Basically, as I said, since water is everybody's business, it will be everybody will be need to be provided skill or awareness or information about water. I've just listed few of those audiences. We can talk about irrigation manager, urban planners, PHE professionals, PW professionals, technician involved in irrigation, drainage, water user association, resident welfare association, self-help groups, NGOs, volunteer organization, personnel involved in irrigation, water supply, disaster preparedness and response, training of trainers, etc., etc. And yes, I'm in the last one slide. And it will be done through a e-learning course structure, which will be having modules, videos, quizzes, assignments, certification. And it will lead to a certification process depending upon what kind of information or education or the skill you are taking from this. The mechanism will be a consortium of training institutions, professional associations to universities, central and state departments, and willing NGOs. I mean, I have jotted down some of these potential knowledge partners which can be part of this. ASCI, NDMI, NIH, NIUA, National Water Academy, Rajiv Gandhi National Groundwater Training Institute, Human Settlement Management Institute of HUDCO, civil society institution involved in water literacy, CPT University, IITs, and other central universities, or even Amrita University or Vidyapit also. Governments of various states and voluntary, these are the institutes which are already participating irrigation and drainage skills. So this is the kind of approach we need to take to address the skill requirement in the water sector. I am sure that since the time allotted was very little, I might not have been able to explain few things, but if you like to really ask some questions, I will be very happy. And this is my email address to contact. With that, I close my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. You really raised our awareness about the potential for skill development in the water domain. We have a question from the previous speaker, Dr. Venkat Subramanian. It is exciting to see conservation and awareness measures being instituted top-down from the central government level. Are there established strategies to allow agencies to measure the effectiveness of these efforts in different communities?
Yeah, that's a very good question, basically, and that's why I bring this need for skill development council for water, because presently there are no such mechanism. Even let's say if we talk about smart city mission, in that we have imparted a lot of trainings to the urban water bodies, basically water organization. However, we have not been able to really pinpoint what are the total requirements and whether they have gained much from it or not. So there is a need for really setting up a mechanism. And I think when any skill development council is set up, a monitoring is also set up with that. And if, as I mentioned, if we can address this need, then it will be possible for us to even monitor our existing programs and what we are doing in terms of awareness building in that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your time again. Now we'll move on to the next speaker. Our next speaker would be Dr. Bhavna Arora, research scientist at Lawrence Berkeley